Welcome to another Trusted House Painter Color Design Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Stein. Your bedroom is where your mind, your body, and your soul connect every night to rejuvenate, heal, and gather inspiration for tomorrow's adventures. It's also the place you rest your head and turn off the noise from the busy world around you. So choosing the right paint color for your bedroom walls makes the difference between feeling alive, creative, and vibrant, or sluggish, restless, and anxious. Choosing the right bedroom color doesn't have to be complicated. And at Trusted House Painter, we want you to wake up refreshed, energized, and ready to paint the world a better place by downloading the free PDF, Bedrooms, Best Paint Colors for Bedroom Walls, found only at trustedhousepainter.com. And on today's show, we have the author of this free PDF, Carla Hedman. Carla Hedman is a professional color design consultant who's helped thousands of homeowners transform their bedrooms and homes into a sanctuary of calm and the castle they call home. Welcome to the show, Carla. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Paul. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I had a good rest. My bedroom wall colors are nice and white.
It does work.
Feels good. It feels good. So before we get into the factors, into this PDF and all the factors of choosing the best paint colors for bedroom walls, I want to know from you, how does the color of your bedroom walls make any difference to the feel of the room?
Well, it sounds a little bit crazy, but you actually are affected by the colors around you. And colors they actually have an energy to them. So they can, typically in the cooler side of this color wheel, they tend to be a little bit more calming and relaxing. And warmer colors do exactly that. They feel warmer. They evoke a sense of hugging or an element of warmth, really is what you're looking for. So it can make you feel like you said earlier, alive. It can calm you down. It can make you inspired. It can quiet like a really restless mind. It can actually calm that down. So here's what we're trying to do is to help you guys find the perfect colors for your bedroom for the look you're trying to achieve.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. So if you're watching this video, you can download your free PDF copy of this PDF, Best Paint Colors for Bedroom Walls, at trustedhousepainter.com, and follow along as we discuss some of the factors when choosing the paint colors for your bedroom walls. So Carla, let's start off with point number 1 in the PDF, soft and warm colors. What do you mean by that?
So basically, when I say soft, I mean something that's been muted. It's not a really intense color. Everything is a little bit quieter. It's muted. What that means really is that it's typically not a true color. It tends to have a smokiness or a haziness that comes across it, and that sort of makes it soft. And then the warm tends to come in the ends of the warm color wheel. So in the color wheel, you're looking at yellows, reds, and oranges. That being said, you don't have to have yellow, red, or orange on the wall. We can always have them as a neutral. And so that can be your undertone in your white or your beige or your sand. And those guys all fall within that color scheme.
Okay, so just like for example, just a little bit of pigment in the paint color. There's not a lot of pigment. It's not popping out at you, in other words, right?
Exactly. So it just is it's not a huge impact. When you do colors like that, what it often does is it gives you a really great backdrop for all of your decor. So when you do
I see.
things
Excellent.
like that, what your eye is drawn to is your decor. So again, if you want to evoke an element of quiet in the space, even though you've gone soft and warm, if you do very soft, quiet colors with the soft, quiet walls, it still feels soft and quiet. So say you're using a creamy color on your walls,
Mhm.
and then you use creams and beiges in your decor. So you don't have a lot of contrast. So it still feels warm, but it feels quiet as
Brilliant. Awesome. That's great. So that's point number 1 in the PDF. The
well.
second factor that you identify in the PDF is rooms that feel light and airy. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I like to say, well, light is pretty easy. You think it's not dark, so it's bright or light. And airy, think of breezy, fresh. You don't think warm. You feel like it's just like a little kiss of a breeze. So it's not cold. It's not hard on the eyes. Really, what those sort of light and airy sort of feels are just that. It doesn't feel like color's coming at you. There's a bit of a presence of color, but again, it's pretty quiet. Just like the soft and warm, it's just quiet, but we've gone a little cooler. So you're going to end up on the cooler side of the color wheel. So you're going to be looking at blues and greens and sometimes purples in this direction.
I see. So perhaps if you had like dark hardwood floors or even like a dark wood interior, something like a light and airy color will help offset the dark cavey feel. Is that what you mean?
Exactly, exactly. So it does tend to be really nice to sleep in. They're great kind of colors for bedrooms because, a lot of people like to sleep with the window open. Same idea. You get that nice cool breeze. Same idea with that. It's very relaxing and calming on the mind.
Nice. Excellent. Well, that one, point factor number two, light and airy, goes along with this next point, the third point, which is bright and cheerful. Now, we're broadcasting right now from the Pacific Northwest area, and it's not always sunny here. There's a lot of gray days. And whenever I travel down to Mexico or go to Hawaii or Puerto Rico, I notice that there's a lot of bright and cheerful colors. So that brings us on to this third point, which is bright and cheerful. Um, what colors, what examples would you give that would help create a bright and cheerful room?
Well, bright and cheerful typically tends to be an actual color. We're not talking about neutrals at this point. I would say that bright and cheery means a color. And you can go a little brighter, a little bit more vibrant because you are looking for a little bit more energy. And again, it's the colors give energy off on them. So the more intense the energy you want, the more vibrant you're going to go. So, if, for example, you want it to feel sunny in your room, then maybe you want to pick a sunny yellow. For those of us in the Pacific Northwest, that it tends to be gray, roughly 6 months of the year outside. Maybe a little bright and sunny isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
So maybe you can pretend that you're in Mexico for those times, even though you can't be.
Yeah, it's funny because as I drive down the road, I kind of see those people that take this factor, the bright and cheerful, they take it to the exterior of their homes. And I see that because the one house is gray, the next one's a neutral gray, the next one's a brown, the next one's a taupe. And then there comes like a big yellow house or something. And I can see that they've tried to bring that to the exterior of their house to bring a little bit more bright and cheerful. So bringing that into your bedroom allows a little bit more space, a little bit more color. And as you said, the vibrational essence of the color really adds a little bit of life to your room, right?
So if you're feeling a little sluggish, maybe that's a good way to add a little bit of color or energy into your space.
Yeah. Well, the next factor here, the factor number four on the PDF, the free PDF, best paint colors for your bedroom walls, which you can download for free at trustedhousepainter.com, along with other PDFs that Carla has made that help you choose the best colors for your home, for your bedroom, and elsewhere. The factor number four that I really like, and this is where what my wife really likes when we painted our home, was quiet and calm. Because our lives tend to be busy, tends to be noisy. And it seems like, the more we go further down into the 2020s, this next decade, it seems like there's a lot of noise out there. And for me, being able to turn off the lights, close the blinds, turn off all the noise in my head and lay back and sleep really helps me get a good rest so that I'm creative and vibrant the next day. So the next factor that we're talking about is a quiet and calm room. This is a feel of the room. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, what I mean usually by that, and that can come into sort of the soft and warm and the light and airy, they do fall in there. But what I'm also counting in this one is that sort of calming element is something that's been neutralized. It's all about neutral or neutralized color. That's what's going to give you that calming effect, that quieter, more sort of restorative feel after sleeping. You want to feel like you've actually slept the night away instead of tossed and turned. And, when you go to bed at night, that sort of feel just sort of sets the mood for you.
Yeah,
You wake
and
up in the morning and it actually helps you in the morning too. So if you feel like you had a rough night, maybe you wake up and it's calm in the morning to wake up to a soft, calm, quiet space sometimes helps too.
yeah, and one thing I noticed, well, at least my wife, she's quite the designer. She adds a little bit of element to our life for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I notice is that our room is quiet and calm. The paint colors in our room is quiet and calm. And what she does is that she adds a nice, rich, warm duvet cover on the bed, or some nice colored pillows on the bed, which really adds to the room. She sometimes hangs a green plant in the corner of the room, and it helps create that calm and quiet feel. A little bit, it almost feels like I'm in nature in a way. So that's what I've noticed helps me, and
Yeah,
what my wife
that's
is.
a really oh, sorry. That's a
Go
really
ahead.
great way to do that is to bring the outside in. So bringing in a little bit of natural elements into your space sort of, restores where you're at because we're all part of the earth. We need to bring a little bit of that outside in.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree for sure. And I guess the last element within this, one last factor within this free PDF, best paint colors for your bedroom walls, found at trustedhousepainter.com, is factor number 5, rich and elegant colors. What do you mean by rich and elegant colors in your bedroom? And when would someone want to apply that in their bedroom?
Well, when I say rich and elegant, I typically mean something that's a little bit more saturated or a color that has a bit more pigment. And again, in order for it to feel richer or more elegant, typically it tends to have a neutralized element in it. It's not that you can't get away with jewel toned colors and make them look rich and elegant, but sometimes it just takes a little bit more skill. If you're uncertain, always neutralize your colors because it'll be easier for most people to live with in the long term. So basically, what that means is think of a state. Like you want to have your room, you want to be a king or a queen, you want to have that a stately room. You want it to be rich, you want it to be elegant. Maybe you have really big scale, fancy furniture, and you want to sort of hold the weight of these things. Think of really heavy furniture. Sometimes too light on the wall, all you see is really heavy furniture. You put something a little bit more intense on the walls, a little denser, a little richer, and you'll end up actually making the room feel more elegant.
Interesting. I was going to ask you, is this tip, the rich and elegant feel of the room, is that something only reserved for big bedrooms, like say 15 by 20 bedrooms, or could you use a rich and elegant feel in your room if it's a really small basement suite bedroom? Can you do that?
You certainly could, but you have to make sure that how you decorate it also goes along with the wall color. So you want to stay with the same scheme. So, if you're using rich and elegant colors, decorate rich and elegant too. Even if it is as much as you can afford, make it look as elegant as you can.
Now, one thing I do know about colors, though, being a
Mhm.
professional painter myself, is that generally when you look at a color swab, it tends to dry a little bit darker. And then once you put it on the wall, it actually looks a little bit darker. So would that be dangerous? Putting a rich and elegant color in a dark room, in a small room, could that make it more cave-like? Or
It Yes, it could certainly do that. Really, what your eye is drawn to is contrast. So you could really just end up having less contrast on your ceiling. So maybe don't do white on your ceiling, do a darker color on your ceiling and a darker on your wall. And basically, it's definitely dark. I'm not going to take away from that. It's really absorbing a lot of light, but it is making it sort of moodier, if you will. And
I,
that's where you really need to address your lighting. So if this is a room that you do a lot of reading in, maybe that's not a great idea.
I see.
You want to think tasks, what are you doing in here? So I'm thinking bedrooms. Bedrooms dark, not a bad thing because you can sleep in dark space. But a space that you do a lot of work in, maybe not a great idea. And
Got
you're
it.
right, it does look darker from a little chip to a wall, and then you get it everywhere. It tends to look quite a bit deeper, so and a lot more intense. So sometimes going a little bit lighter than you think you want is a good idea inside.
I see. And a popular trend that I found has come into play here in the last year or so is adding like wallpaper as an elegant, rich. I've seen a lot of powder rooms in new constructions because it doesn't have a shower or bath. It's a small little place. What I've noticed a lot of lately is like the bottom wainscoting is white, is really, really bright, matches the toilet,
Mm.
the sink, the pedestal sink. But then what they use on the top half of the walls is like either a nice elegant wallpaper or a dark color. So bringing that into your bedroom, could you use like a wallpaper feature wall, or would you recommend even using like a darker color to create the elegant look as a feature wall in a bedroom? Would that be possible, or is that kind of faux pas? Don't do
Nope.
that.
You certainly can. You certainly can. When adding wallpaper, depending on the wallpaper, you're also adding pattern and texture in there. So that adds interest to a space. And, the more sort of, neutral or intense colors sometimes will evoke the same idea. You can have a little bit of gloss on it, and you can have gloss and matte or shine, and that sometimes, even with a soft color palette, can make it look more elegant depending on the paper.
Cool. That's good to know. Well, we'll have to do a completely different show about wallpaper and texture.
Yes, wallpaper's another story for sure.
Yeah, and it's a popular thing. It's funny. 5 years ago, most of my jobs were ripping wallpaper off or painting over wallpaper, and it's funny how trends just do a complete 180, and now everybody wants wallpaper, right? So we'll do another show about that. But I've got a few questions that I think maybe some other viewers may have with respect to these 5 factors found in the free PDF that you can download from trustedhousepainter.com. And the PDF is called Best Paint Colors for Your Bedroom Walls: How to Create a Beautiful Feel, an Elegant Feel, or a calming feel, whatever you want. These 5 elements help you identify which feel you want for your room. So, one of the first questions I have is, can you combine two or more of these, one of these 5 factors found in the PDF? Can you combine 2 of them together, or is that not recommended? So in other words, can you incorporate soft and warm and rich and elegant, or is that going to create too much like noise in the room?
Great question, Paul. Actually, yes, you can combine the two. But I will put something out here. If you feel uncertain, don't. Don't mix them. If you feel nervous, just stick with one. But you're right, you could definitely mix, say that soft and warm and rich and elegant. You could do a soft beige on most of your walls and then add an accent wall that's something a little bit richer and more elegant.
Awesome, cool. That basically solves my question, because a lot of clients that I've had in the past ask that very question, and I kind of get fumbled, and I don't really want to tell them what to do, because if I tell them yes and they do it wrong and they have a horrible experience, well, guess who wears it, right? Me, because I recommended that. So thank you for answering that. The second question I have is, if someone isn't sure what type of feel they want in the room, whether it be soft and airy or soft and warm, light and airy, bright and cheerful, quiet and calm, rich and elegant, if they don't know what type of feel they want for the home, what would you recommend as a default go-to recommendation of one of those 5 factors?
I would actually say one. I would say one of two would be a great option. So I would either say light and airy or soft and warm. So really, it comes down to what colors you like. Because everybody has what they like. So don't ignore what you like. So if you tend to like warmer colors, creams and beiges and sands, maybe just go into that direction. Or if you tend to like cooler colors, you like grays and blues and things like that, then go to the light and airy. Keep it light and calming, and that will be the easiest way for most people to, have a nice space for their bedroom.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Another question I had was, like I mentioned earlier, we're in the Pacific Northwest. It's gray 6 months of the year here. Beautiful. I love the rain. It's fresh. It's awesome. Um, but what if, and if you're down south of the border, then you get a lot of sunlight. So my question to you is, what if your bedroom is on the north side of a home and it doesn't get a lot of light? What happens if your bedroom doesn't have a lot of window light, natural light coming in, and it's very dark and cave-like? What do you think would be the best feel for that type of room to help offset the constant darkness of it?
Okay. Well, I like to think of two schools of thoughts when it comes to that.
Okay.
One is either embrace it and just know that it's dark, and maybe that's what you do use. Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's maybe go to the bright and cheerful or the rich and elegant because it's already dark anyways. You're not going to be able to uh, fix the lighting with your paint, right? So that would be one way to go about it, and just accept that it's dark and go for it.
Yeah.
Or the other direction would be is if it's dark in, north facing and out here, say in the Pacific Northwest, something that has a little bit more clarity behind it, something that's a little cleaner because the light is a little bit more muted. So you could go for warm, creamy things if you want to do the whites, like something like Benjamin Moore's Navajo white actually works really good in north facing spaces. They don't look too dull, but they still have a little bit of color and it looks brighter. I do find that if you go bright white in spaces like that, they actually look a little too sterile. So you need to add a little bit of color in order for it to look a little bit more inviting.
Yeah. And then the other PDF that you made, how to choose the perfect paint color for your house, you mentioned that there's certain things that you're stuck with, that you choose your color based on the things you're stuck with. So what you just said there, by kind of embracing what exists, sometimes helps alleviate that question.
Exactly.
Cool. And the last question I have is kind of like the opposite. It might kind of sound like a stupid question, but I kind of ask stupid questions, and sometimes I amaze myself at the answers that come out. But what happens if your bedroom is always cold? What happens if you're home, you live in an older home and it's cold and you're always bundling up and would using dark colors help create warmth? And vice versa. If you lived in a very hot home, would putting light colors on your bedroom walls help cool the feel of the room?
Yes, actually, Paul, you've got it right on the money. It doesn't technically change the temperature of your room, but it will actually make it feel or appear warmer if you do warmer colors, deeper, denser colors in those cool spaces. And conversely, it will cool off a space. So sometimes if you are on a hot side of the house, say you're south facing or west facing, or say you live in the south and it's got a lot of light, if you want to uh, you know soften the heat a little bit, cool it off a little bit, go to the cooler side. And conversely, if you wanted to warm it up, instead of putting a sweater, maybe put a deeper warmer color on your walls, and that'll help too.
Awesome. No, that's great. I really appreciate you taking the time to make this video with me, talking about your free PDF and the factors that you outline in it that help homeowners choose the perfect paint color for their bedroom walls. I know that the PDF itself has some color swabs on each factor, such as soft and warm, light and airy, bright, cheerful, calm and quiet, and rich and elegant. So if you download this PDF, you'll see some color swabs on each point that help you understand and visually see which colors Carla is mentioning. And Carly, most of these colors are Benjamin Moore colors that you have put in the PDF. Is that correct?
That is correct. In fact, they all are Benjamin
Yeah.
Moore colors.
And it's not limited to Benjamin Moore. It could be any paint color out there. Almost every every paint store and paint retailer out there has their own variety of colors, and you can get similar colors to almost every retail. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct. And I would say a big thing, don't ignore what they like the tried and true kind of colors. You can always ask the people at the paint store which ones are people using a lot right now because, you're not looking to reinvent the wheel. Let's just work with what's working.
Awesome. So to finish up this, if you're watching the show, you can go to trustedhousepainter.com and you can download your free PDF entitled Bedrooms, Best Paint Colors for Your Bedroom Walls. And if someone wants to contact you, Carla, for, say, a virtual color consult for their bedroom, that seems to be the popular thing nowadays for a lot of people. Where can they contact you, and how can they get a hold of you for your services?
You can contact me from Carla at trustedhousepainter.com, or you can go through the trustedhousepainter.com website and you can find me through there. And if you're looking for painters to go along with that newly colored room, we can also talk because we can get you in touch with some of the painters with Trusted House Painters.
in your local area. Excellent. Thank you very much, Carl. I was just going to say,
Yeah, you're welcome.
trustedhousepainter.com is a brand new app that's out there helping homeowners find and connect with local painters within 3 clicks. It's the latest thing. It's super easy. And if you need a paint job, whether it be interior, exterior, whether you're planning for the spring, whether you have a renovation, whether you have a basement suite that you need blitzed out because you've got tenants in and out, commercial property or retail property, anything you want, you can go to trustedhousepainter.com and find professional painters like that. So thank you very much for being on the show, Carla, and thank you for watching the show. And any last comments that you'd love to add to the homeowner for any kind of tip or what they should do when they're painting their bedrooms? Any last kind of tips?
The last tip I would say is, trust your gut. Sometimes that's the biggest thing. Go with what you like. That's important too. You're the one who lives there. You're the one paying the bills. So make sure it feels like your house. So don't feel like you have to be like your friends or your neighbors. Do your space for you and take advantage of all the references and materials out there for you. They're there to help.
Yeah, exactly. And at Trusted House Painter, we want you to have a beautiful rest in your bedroom so that you can paint the world a better place. Thanks again for being on the show, Carla, and thank you for watching. And we'll chat soon, Carla. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, see you later.
You bet. Bye.
Bye-bye.